Right, this time we're going to have a look at the if statements that could come up in your exam. Please remember that with your if statements, you could be asked to look for errors, you could be asked to write them, it could be nested ifs, it could just be an if else, or it could just be an if end if. So, here's your syntax for an if statement. If a condition is true, then, next line, carry out an action, else, action 2, end if. Please remember your indentation. Your begins and your ends should always match up. Everything else should be indented. We like things to be readable. Now that there's for an if statement. You also have an else if statement. And an else if is if a condition is true, then do action 1. Else if a condition is true, then do action 2. Else, action 3, end if. Now an else if statement could have more else ifs. So for example, step 5 there, instead of being an else, could be another else if another condition is true. And so on and so on. But the format is the same as this. There must be the if, the else if, the else, the end if. These must follow on. So let's move on and look at an example. In the 2012 coursework, a runner qualifies if their two, I've noticed the spelling of their 2 lap times are less than 58 seconds. So we've got 2 variables, lap time 1 needs to be less than 58, lap time 2 also needs to be less than 58. They qualify if that happens. If it doesn't, they do not qualify. Here's your top level algorithm. Get a valid number of runners, loop for each runner, get their name, get the time for each lap, decide if the runner qualifies, end loop, display results. Now the step we're looking to refine is step 5. So here's my syntax. If something is true, then action 1, else action 2, end if. So we're looking at step 1. So what condition is it that needs to be true? Well, I've got 2 laps. Lap 1 needs to be less than 58 seconds. Lap 2 needs to be less than 58 seconds. And it's separated by an and because both of these conditions need to be true in order for the runner or the swimmer, I can't remember what it was, to progress to the next round. So how do we write that out? If lap 1 is less than 58 and lap 2 is less than 58, then notice my if, notice my then at the end. Make sure you get your syntax. So if both of these are true, what action is it we carry out? Well, according to this scenario, the decision is that they qualify. It was that simple. If both of those laps are less than 58, then that runner qualifies. Back to my syntax. Line 3 must be the word else. There's my else. So let's look at line 4. If they don't qualify, what happens? They do not qualify. So 5.4 is decision equals not qualify. And then let's look at my syntax. Line 5 must be an end if. There's my 5.5, end if. Notice the words if, then, else, end if. They must be in place. They don't need to be capital. Sometimes I do an end and the if together. There's no space. That's just from Old University. Sometimes you do them separate. Does not really matter. You will not be marked down for that. But you must have your then on line 1 with your if. Your else must be on its own, and then you must have your end if underneath. Right, here's one for you to try. So, this is the Old Cafe Intermediate 2 coursework to calculate the VAT. Unfortunately, when staff go to the canteen, we have to pay VAT. At the time when this coursework was written, VAT was 17.5%. You guys don't have to pay VAT because you are, sorry for saying it, you're Waynes. And Waynes don't have to pay VAT. And that's just completely screwed up. Right, back in. You guys don't have to pay any VAT. So, what we want to do is for you to calculate the VAT. Now, notice the type of customer. S for staff, P for pupil. So it's the type of customer that you're looking at. So if my type of customer, if I'm staff, what's my VAT? If I'm pupil, what's my VAT? VAT must equal something. Just because you don't pay it doesn't mean that it doesn't equal something. So if it doesn't equal anything, what is it? What number is that? It's as big a clue as you're getting. So my VAT, I've got the cost of my meal, and my VAT is 17.5 on that cost of meal. So you should be able to work that one out. So it's cost of meal times 17.5 divided by 100. That's how you calculate the VAT. It has to be done inside an if statement because only staff pay VAT. Right, next line. Here's another one. An Old Inn 2 hotel room programme. When a customer stays for more than 14 nights, they get a discount of £2. Write the pseudocode to calculate the discount. Dead simple. So they must have a discount. It's either 2 or it's no 2. It's nothing. So what would it be? If, then, else, end if. That's the syntax you're using. Okay, here's the else if ones. So, remember, if condition is true, then action 1. Else if another condition is true, then action 2. Else action 3, end if. So, here is my scenario. To get an A, you need to get 70 or above. To get a B, you need 60 or above. To get a C, you need 50 or above. So when we get a pupil's mark, we can then allocate you a band. That's how it works. If you get 71, you're getting an A. If you get 62, you're getting a B. And if you get 59, you're getting a C. So what we want to do is we want to refine step 4, calculate the pupil's band. Now the pupil's band is dependent on the pupil's mark, so that's what our if statement is. So let's have a wee look, right? So if condition is true, then. So I want to start off with my A. So if something is something, then band equals A. So if pupil mark is greater than, let's have a look at it, is greater than 70, then what's my action? Band equals A. Next one, else if. Else if another condition is true. How do I get my B? So else if the mark is greater than 60, then what's my action? Band equals B. I've only got a C left, so I've just got an else here. I've done it as an else if. Else if mark is greater than 50, then action 3, band equals C, and finally end if. Now that's not wrong. I could have done step 5 just as an else because I only gave myself 3 options here, but I did it as an else if. Here's your turn. This is again an Old Inn 2 coursework. Enter the customer's name, enter a valid type of room. The type of room can either be S for single, T for twin, D for double. Enter the number of nights. Calculate the room rate. Now the room rate is dependent on the type of room. If I stay in a single room, it's £40. If I stay in a twin room, it's £60. If I stay in a double room, it's £50. And then I want to calculate the discount, I want to calculate the bill, and I want to display. The only step you have to define is step 4. Calculate the room rate. It's an else if. And here's another one. Deciding if the pupil is accepted or declined for the orchestra. So a pupil is accepted to the junior orchestra if their age is less than 15 and their total score is more than 70. Otherwise, a pupil is accepted to the senior orchestra if their age is less than 18 and their total score is more than 70. Otherwise, they are declined from the orchestra. Again, this is an else-if piece of code. These two pieces of code are probably the two hardest that you've had to write so far, so be careful with your syntax.